My name's Roland Sands. I am a motorcycle builder, designer. Generally kind of stoked to bring things in my head to reality. That's what it is all about, bringing an idea to life. I mean, there's no more complete circle than that. That's the challenge, you know? I was around motorcycles, I mean, since I can remember, really. It's kind of been in my blood. When I was 18, I was like a drug addiction, man. Nothing else in my life really mattered a whole lot. It was like, I'm gonna go out and ride and race and try and win. So that's what I did for about 10 years. And I didn't know I was going to be a national champion, and I didn't know that I'd end up winning national road races and breaking track records and racing at the highest level. I really wanted to go and make something of myself that didn't really have to do with anybody else, because I knew that no one would be able to take that away from me, you know? Pushing myself seems kind of like a way of life. Every time I was on a bike, I'd push, and I'd always push past the limit, and now I really get the majority of my satisfaction from creation. I don't know, some people call me one of the top builders, I guess I am, but what's different is in this realm of building motorcycles, it's not about being the best as much as it's about just creating and wanting to build new stuff and cool stuff. To constantly innovate is the challenge, always doing something new and different. And today it's so tough because there's so many people building really great things, it's hard to stand out, you know? So you gotta constantly push. Creating something, it is about bringing something to life. A motorcycle to me is like the personification of that, because it like involves so many different things. It involves art, fabrication, design, engineering, rubber, steel, aluminum, titanium, paint, wood, whatever you can throw at it. So motorcycles are to me like the finest display of bringing an idea to life, making it real, making something you can actually touch, feel, and ride. That's what it's all about. Being on a bike for me is just essential to life. It's the purest expression of freedom and mobility. The faster you go, the harder you ride, the harder you push. You feel it so much more on a motorcycle. If you're going 100 miles an hour, you know it. It's draining physically, but also mentally, because you put so much focus into it. When you're on a bike, it strips everything else away. It just makes anything else in your life disappear. I'll never be away from bikes. It's It's just what I do, what my family does, what everyone I know does. So safe to say I'll be around for a little while. I don't see any other way for me personally but to just go after it every day. It just makes sense to me, so that's what I do. Life is one big project. We gotta hit it every day.
Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. If you have a car question for Bobby, call now at 1-800-264-5454, toll free from anywhere in America. And now, here's your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome to this edition of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Sit back, ride along with me this hour, and we'll have some car fun. If you have a car question, we'll be glad to take your call at 888 Car Clinic. That's 888-227-2546. Jim will take your call, put you in a queue, and I will put you on the air. Lots of great information coming up. EDR, what's an EDR? That's an event data recorder that your car has in it. It's kind of like a big brother, and there's some pros and cons. So I'll share with you my thoughts. I'll share with you the facts. And then maybe you can share with me your thoughts as to whether or not you like it that your car has this reporting device and who owns that information. I think that's really the biggest question with regard to EDR, event data recording. This segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you by PowerFrame Grid Technology. PowerFrame grids, folks, are up to 66% more durable and more corrosion resistant than other grid designs. Look for the PowerFrame logo on the outside of your next battery. It means true strength on the inside. You can learn more at powerframe.com. Also, our partner sponsors, K&N. This segment, I got to share with you, K&N filters are fantastic. I got those in all my cars, and they just run better and better and better. And by the way, K&N is the original performance air filter at NASCAR. I'm going to take a short commercial break. I'm going to come back and take your calls, share information, and have some car fun at 888 Car Clinic. This mailbag is brought to you by K&N, the world's best air filter. Gary in Baltimore writes, Bobby, I'm a longtime listener and now follow you on Facebook. My 2008 Toyota Corolla smells like a locker room inside, and air fresheners only help temporarily. A friend told me his car had a filter for the interior. Does mine? Great question, Gary. What you're looking for is a cabin air filter. About 80% of new vehicles have one, or a place where one can be installed. So check your owner's manual. A clean cabin air filter is great for creating a nice smelling interior, but a dirty cabin air filter is a breeding ground for mold and mildew, which causes musty odors. Dirty cabin air filters also restrict airflow, making your air conditioner and heater work harder. K&N's new line of washable, reusable cabin air filters and refresher spray have an electrostatic charge that captures most airborne contaminants, helping to control odors. Go to knfilters.com for all the reasons K&N is the world's best air filter.
O'Reilly.
Not an O'Reilly O-Rewards member yet? Now you can sign up online at orewards.com. Enroll today and start earning $5 back on every $150 you spend. Visit orewards.com and become an O'Reilly O-Rewards member today. It's fast, easy, and free. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
When it comes to your car battery, you expect it to work. Turn the key and go. Thanks to state-of-the-art engineering, strong, consistent starts are exactly what you get with PowerFrame Grid technology. Batteries that use PowerFrame Grid technology provide superior cranking power with up to 70% better electrical flow than other grid designs. Look for the PowerFrame logo on the outside of your next battery. It means true strength on the inside. Visit powerframe.com to find a retailer near you.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Where are you going?
To kill the weeds.
Whoa, don't kill the grass too, like you did last time.
Hey, wise men make mistakes. They just don't make them twice.
What's different this time?
This time, I've got Ortho Weed Begone Max. It kills weeds down to the root, but unlike other products, it doesn't kill the grass.
Ooh, so impressive.
Well, I've done it the wrong way, so I figured I might as well try it the right way.
I'm all for that.
Kill the weeds, not the grass. Get Ortho Weed Begone Max and defend what's yours.
Being there matters, and your United States Navy protects and defends America on the world's oceans. Around the globe, around the clock, Navy ships, submarines, aircraft, and most importantly, tens of thousands of America's finest young men and women are ready to defend America when piracy threatens global commerce, when disaster strikes, or when called upon by the Commander-in-Chief. Your Navy is there. When it comes to protecting and defending America, being there matters, and America's Navy is already there.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
Okay, let's get started on this hour of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. I want to reach out to WWSC, 1450 AM in Albany, New York. Clay Ashworth and Dan Miner, General Manager and Program Director on Car Clinic Affiliate. WWSC, 1450 AM in Albany, New York. If that's your neck of the woods, let me hear from you at 888 Car Clinic. That's 888-227-2546. Folks, every month we get technical service bulletins, and a TSB, that's what it's called, contains information. And I think recently I shared with you one of Terry's tips. And Terry Elm is our lead technician, and in fact just recertified on a half a dozen of his 8 ASE certifications at the University of West Florida, and passed with flying colors all 5 of the first test, and then I think he had 3 more scheduled for a couple of days later and passed all those. It doesn't surprise me because indeed he really is a sharp individual, and more every day we're seeing the need for reprogramming of vehicles that come in for repairs or parts that you replace. You can't just bolt a new part on a car. You have to introduce that part to the car. Why? Let's say for a door lock solenoid, it's where you push the key fob and the doors open, the doors unlock. And let's say the actuator for the driver's door fails. So you put a new actuator in. The new actuator will not work until it is initialized with the car's onboard controls. Why? For safety reasons. For instance, in an accident, when there's a rollover or there's a serious accident and the airbag deploys, all the doors will unlock so that when the responders get there for emergencies, they don't have to break the windows because your car doors were locked when you were crashed, but they unlocked during the crash. So those are the things that you need to know about. And so today, I have what's called a fast fix. Technical service bulletins. We get 100,000 pages of TSBs every month. It's impossible to learn or to read that information. So we have a directory, of course, and we'll put in, for instance, here's a fast fix. This is for a 2011 Chevrolet Colorado with a 3.7 engine, and it's a double overhead cam, and the VIN is E, as in easy. This particular car has 59,000 miles on it. This is a fast fix. Again, it's from our TSB data network. In the meantime, if you have a car question, Jan will take your calls at 888 Car Clinic, 888-227-2546. Okay, so here we go. And here's what the customer concern was. The front axle won't engage above 5 miles per hour. The four-wheel drive light flashes. So here were some tests that were run. And there's 7 different tests that were run. 1, verify the correct size tires are installed. Check the rolling circumference of all the tires. That's called run out. And that's very important. Run out is where literally, and you have to make sure that the tire pressure is equal, because if you put 25 PSI in one tire, and you take that same tire and put 30 PSI, the tire will be larger in diameter. So you have to start with all of the same tire pressure. That's why you hear NASCAR, they'll change tire pressure on the outside or inside in half pound increments so they can change the rollout. So the car will want to roll either out or roll in. For instance, a conical cup, let's take a regular water cup, little coffee styrofoam cup and you roll it on the table. Well, it's conical. It's a cone shape, and it doesn't roll straight. It rolls in a circle because the inside, the small base, is smaller in diameter than the top of the cup. And so that has to do with rollout. The number 3 test is to mark all 4 tires at 6 o'clock. Roll the vehicle straight ahead 10 wheel revolutions. Check that all 4 marks are within 1 inch of each other. Now think about that. You put at 6 o'clock a chalk mark, move the car 10 revolutions of each tire going straight ahead, and all of the 4 tires are to come back to that 6 o'clock position within 1 inch. Number 6, verify the axle shaft actuator extends all the way. Number 7, check the front drive axle clutch fork for binding. Okay, what's next? Well, here's the potential. Worn tires, incorrect tire sizes, failed axle shaft actuator, or failed front drive axle clutch fork. That's a lot of information, but that's just on one fast fix. What fixed this car? Axle shaft actuator. That's what actually fixed this 2011 Chevrolet Colorado 4-wheel drive that would not go into 4-wheel drive above 5 miles per hour. A little later in the program, I will share with you information on a 2007 Buick LaCrosse, another fast fix that came my way this week. And again, I get dozens of these, and I share them from time to time. But the real challenge, and just for you to know, when you go to service shops and you have a particular drivability problem, you want to ask that shop before you start spending a lot of time and money, because time is money, to test that vehicle, that the shop look under their database of technical service bulletins. And of course, all data is our prime source for technical data, and we subscribe to all data. And there's what you need to know. The shop has to subscribe, which means that there's a cost to get technical service bulletins. But quite candidly, without having the technical information, it's impossible to properly repair and service today's automobiles, and that's even more so the more we go and grow with the technical parts that cars have today. So on the Buick, I'll share with you a little later in today's program. It's an 07 Buick LaCrosse with a 3.8 engine V6, had 65,000 miles. The customer concern, the airbag light is on all the time. Now that could be costly. So I will share that with you a little bit later on. I want to mention today that this is really important. Our Facebook comment ability. Your opinions and your questions are really valuable to me, and now we've made it easier for you to get your automotive questions answered. Our Facebook page, and that's facebook.com/Bobby Likis, is now open for you to leave me a comment or a question directly on my page. This will allow me to respond to you concerning a specific car question. It's just a better way to open communications. So if you didn't get your call in today, or you didn't hear maybe the rest of the call, of course, all of our shows are stored for iPod. Don't fret. You just head on over to facebook.com/Bobby Likis. Post your question or comment, and I'll choose one question, and we'll feature that on each week's Global Cast. It's really easy to do. And then a little later in today's program, we're going to talk to Joe Liedhedner, who is with Johnson Controls with regard to the power frame grid technology that we talk about in those great batteries that have the power frame grid technology. Again, get social with me. Like me on facebook.com/Bobby Likis, as I said. Follow me on Twitter. And also, you can find us on Pinterest and Tumblr. There's all kinds of ways. Or your local radio station as we speak, 888-227-2546. EDR. What's an EDR? That's an event data recorder. And one of our regular listeners sent me a note. Stan, thank you very much, sent me a note with regard to the EDRs and your car's ability to track you. So I want to share with you what an EDR is. It's an electronic memory chip that records a continuous loop of information flowing from the car's sensors and control modules. Now, it doesn't store it stores continuously, but it stores immediate information because it's impossible to have enough memory to store everything that happens. So it captures, and when a crash occurs, the EDR captures about 5 seconds of data before the event, and then a little under a second after the event. So that includes how fast the car was moving. Now think about this: when you have an accident, how fast your car was moving, whether the brakes were applied or not when the crash occurred, the timing of the airbag deployment, and safety belt. And as I mentioned early on, who owns the information? Well, while the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration considers the information the property of the vehicle owner, and automakers say that the data is accessed only with the owner's consent, the Driver Piracy or Privacy Act only protects drivers in 14 states. So the rest of the country is kind of in a state of limbo where the information is being accessed by anyone for any reason. That could be a real challenge. What about remote connections like OnStar? Well, EDRs capture only a few seconds of data. Telematics systems provide a regular stream about a car's location and other parameters. And it's not clear what data is collected and what's done with the data. Even automobile manufacturers, car makers, don't seem sure about the best ways to use it. But moving forward, it's more likely that the government will aggregate data about where people drive and use it to ease congestion or pollution, and automakers will focus on more personal information with regard to advertising, which is what we're going to do right now. Don't touch your dial. I'll be back.
Whether you're a DIYer or a brake professional, be sure your brake job is complete by replacing all the brake hardware with Carlson quality brake hardware. Why? A brake job is more than simply replacing shoes and pads. Fact is, when you also replace springs, clips, and other hardware parts that hold all brake components in place, your brakes will perform better and last longer. It's a small investment to ensure your brake job is complete and done right. Invest in the best. Invest in Carlson quality brake hardware kits with every brake job.
O'Reilly.
Eventually it's going to happen. You'll turn the key and your engine won't start. Don't lose your ability to get around. Visit O'Reilly Auto Parts for a Super Start battery. Whether it's a reliable economy, hard-working premium, or powerful extreme, you'll find it at an everyday low price. Don't let a dead battery slow you down. Visit O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Bobby Likis with today's Fact or Friction. Brought to you by Royal Purple, the performance lubricants that outperform. Fact or friction? Clogged fuel injection systems cause poor performance. Fact. A wonder of modern technology, fuel injectors, like tiny water pistols, squirt precise amounts of gasoline into each engine cylinder. But when injectors become restricted with debris, gas flow slows. Result? Vehicles that stutter and waste fuel. Solution? A fuel injector cleaner, like Royal Purple Max Clean, that penetrates the built-up residue and opens the spray passageway, so full doses of fuel can enter the engine's combustion chamber. When choosing products that enhance the performance of your vehicle, consider Royal Purple Max Clean. Visit RoyalPurple.com for all the Royal Purple advantages. Then pick up your Royal Purple Max Clean today at Pep Boys.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Hi, Tom Bodette talking to you on a cell phone to demonstrate how easy it is to make reservations in Motel 6 when you're on the road. Uh-oh, I'm just about to head into a tunnel. Anyway, just call 1-800-4-MOTEL-6. Clean, comfortable room. Lowest price of any national chain. Oh, sorry, this stupid phone's cutting out me. Man, I hate these things. Call you back. I'm Tom Bodette for Motel 6, and we'll leave the light on for you. And a Core Hotel.
Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, brought to you by Geico Auto Insurance.
I love you, Romeo.
I love you, Juliet.
Too bad our families hate each other.
Yeah.
How is Geico able to guarantee my claim repairs and still save me money?
Don't know.
I love you anyway.
All right, then.
We can guarantee claim repairs for as long as you own your car, and you could save 15% on car insurance. Call Geico at 1-800-947-AUTO. That's 1-800-947-AUTO.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
Okay, it's time for another very important part of our show. This will be a good opportunity for you to get your calls in at 888 Car Clinic. Jen will take your call at 888-227-2546. Put you in a queue, and I will put you on the air. I want to welcome you all back to today's broadcast. And folks, thousands and thousands of Car Clinic listeners entered the Another Bobby's Big Gas Sweepstakes. Now, as I said, it's time to announce our first winner of this Big Gas Sweepstakes, the winner of the Royal Purple Leather Lambskin Jacket, compliments of Randy Fisher and Marlena Solomon at Royal Purple. And we're really proud to have Royal Purple as a Car Clinic Sweepstakes partner. Past Royal Purple winners include Lori Poland from Florida, Dennis Fearson from Washington, D.C., Janelle Theorem from Boston, Carl Tedesco from Chicago, James Carley from New York, well, from everywhere, Bill Rushmore from Pittsburgh, Adam Sweet from Tulsa, and Marique Wilczek was from Seattle, and Kim Becker in Las Vegas. But now it's time to announce today's winner of the Royal Purple Leather Lambskin Jacket in Another Bobby's Big Gas Sweepstakes, Mark Courier in Nashville, Tennessee. So, Tony, this doesn't get any better than this. And I want to congratulate Mark for winning the Royal Purple Leather Lambskin Jacket. And folks, remember, Royal Purple is my choice for synthetic high-performance motor oil. I use it in my cars, in my customers' cars. In fact, customers come in our service shop and ask for Royal Purple by name. Check out the reasons why at royalpurple.com. And I want a special thanks to all you Car Clinic listeners who tune in to Car Clinic and entered the Another Bobby's Big Gas Sweepstakes. Stay tuned. Next week, we'll announce more winners of our existing Bobby's Big Gas Sweepstakes. Well, actually, it's another's Bobby's Big Gas Sweep. Right, Tony? It's the second
another
one.
One.
Another one.
Make sure you enunciate that big
gas. I said
we don't
that.
want to get censored by the FCC
No,
or anything like that.
I know.
This is a family program.
I know. It's a family. Yeah.
Hey, actually, we have Mark on line one.
Oh, really?
He called in, wants to talk to you about his gift.
Well,
should we put him on? What do you think?
Well, I think so, yeah.
All right, let's put him on. See what he's got to say.
Mark. Well, congratulations. You are the winner of the Royal Purple Leather Lambskin Jacket. Thanks for entering another Bobby's Big Gas Sweepstakes. I did pronounce that right. So welcome to the Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Glad to get you on the air.
Wow, thanks, Bobby.
Well, you know, it's you're going to really enjoy the lambskin leather jacket. I've got one. It's a fantastic it feels really great. I got to tell you, it's really interesting. From time to time, when we have winners, we've had winners from all over. Tell us a little something about you, Mark.
Well, I live in Nashville, Tennessee. It's pretty wet here right now. It's been raining for the last couple of days, but I own a 2007 Pontiac Solstice, and my wife and I, we love driving all over the countryside. It's a really neat car.
And what do you do for fun?
We just take trips and drive around, stop in interesting little places, eat lunch, and, I do all my own maintenance on my car. I never put it into the shop, so I'm always looking for good tips to keep it running well.
How many miles on your car?
77,000 right now.
Well, that's not a lot of miles. I mean, that's, cars today go, 200,000 miles is really... I have people call me on the Car Clinic here and say, Bobby, I've got 180,000 miles, and the car kind of skips, so the transmission doesn't seem to shift just right, or the brakes chatter, and it hasn't been 10 or 15 years that was typical for a car that had 50,000 miles on it. So
yeah, right.
Your 07, that's really low mileage. Might I ask what your profession is?
I'm a photographer.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did you get involved
in a lot of stuff?
What do you shoot mainly?
Well, I've done a lot of weddings and a lot of commercial work, and I've actually photographed some very interesting cars for some car magazines too. So that was always very interesting.
Really? Well, name a couple.
I shot a Ford GT for a guy for Car and Driver magazine. very famous guy that lives around here. I can't really say anything about it because I'm on a non-disclosure, but it was a really nice car, and he had a lot more of them, and he had a very nice house.
Well, I'll tell you, those cars, I think they were, as I remember, when they came out, and you're talking about the one that Ford came out with in '06, I believe it was.
Yes, sir.
That vehicle, at the time, I forget what they were selling for, or what the list price, but now they bring what, $500,000 or better on the auction. It depends on the mileage, and a lot of times, do you remember the mileage that was on the car?
It was very low. You don't see those cars driving on the roads very much.
Well, no.
I think it was about 3,000 miles.
Well, that's amazing. What color was it?
It was a kind of a dark blue, a deep ocean blue.
Yeah. Beautiful car. A good friend of mine has one that has all the logos on it, which was a special edition, the GP, and he doesn't drive it. Well, I take that back. He drives it more than what, of course, he has a lot of cars, and people that own those kind of cars usually have more than one car or more than 5 cars, really.
Yeah, I could imagine.
Yeah. Well, I want to congratulate you, Mark, on winning Royal Purple's leather lambskin jacket. And when the winter comes there in Nashville, you certainly will be able to use that. And after you get your jacket, maybe you could give me a shout back on a broadcast and let me know how you like it. That would be really cool.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Bobby. Thank you.
You are more than welcome. I'm glad you entered the sweepstakes, and congratulations for winning Royal Purple's leather lambskin jacket. And they're great partner sponsors, and I use all their products in not only in my cars, but in all my customers' cars as well. Let me place you back on hold so that Miss Jan can confirm all of your information, and we get the right information and get your shipping address, and because Royal Purple will send you the leather jacket directly. It won't come through me. It'll come directly from corporate, and probably from Marlena Solomon and Randy Fisher there with Royal Purple. Hey, congratulations again, and congratulations on the photographer. That's really interesting. And the reason that I say that, in April of this year, I had a professional photographer shoot my cars, and we had 4 cars, and we went to 4 different locations, one of which was on the beach road, and we were there about 8 o'clock, 8:15 in the morning. We started about 5:15 in the morning, and we actually blocked half the road, which is not what you're supposed to do, but but we got away with it.
Wow.
So congratulations again. I'll put you back on hold, Mark.
Thanks, Bobby.
You're welcome. Well, folks, that's really cool. What can I say? It's terrific to have folks that win by, and we're going to have more winners announced on today. In fact, coming up next hour, we're going to announce the winner of the $500 gift card from yours truly. So stay tuned, and we'll talk with the next winner for the next hour. We were talking about EDRs, and I want to share that with you. And if you have a question, 888 Car Clinic is the number, 888-227-2546. What are your thoughts on the EDR debate? Drop me a line on Facebook or call now and tell me what you think. And also, you'll find there are 6 ways to protect your data. So that's facebook.com/Bobby Likis. And I dug in, and I got some more information that I want to share with you here, like what's in the box. And invasive or not, and this is about how your car is tracking you. If you just tuned in, we're talking about EDR, Event Data Recorders. Big Brother is watching. Well, there's no way. Should we allow the black boxes? Well, let me tell you, it's not whether or not we're going to allow it, because your car has the black box in it. Invasive or not, the information captured by the EDR is just a trickle compared with the ever-growing stream of personal data flowing from our cars and electronic devices. Moreover, we often willingly trade that data for increased safety and convenience. And I'll just share you here what's in the box. They're used in 96% of new cars, and that provides critical crash data that might not otherwise be available. National Highway Traffic Safety Administration says that it considers the information the property of, and here's where you come in, the property of the vehicle owner. And automakers say that the data is accessed only with the owner's consent. Well, that may or may not be true. In an attempt to bring about more clarity, The Driver Privacy Act was introduced in the U.S. earlier in the Senate this year, and the act specifies that the EDR information is the property of the car owner, and that in most cases, it can't be accessed without consent. For details on state laws, and this is for you to know, go to National Conference of State Legislatures website. That's ncsl.org. Very, very interesting to me. And there's something else, too, that you might want to know, and that's that the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration moving forward with vehicle-to-vehicle communication. Now, if this is all too technical for you, let me know. And let me, because the cars that you drive today will indeed connect to other cars that your car sees that you don't see. Well, how is that possible? Well, it's through radar. Like military or like commercial airlines all have anti-crash or crash avoidance. I don't think there's anything such as anti-crash, but it's crash avoidance. And this crash avoidance is really radar that communicates from one plane to another, and when you get within a certain, and it depends on how it's set up, proximity, then one airplane sees another, and so that's what's going to happen with new cars. And this information has already been used on cars, autonomous cars that drive, because the autonomous cars not only have to see another car, but those cars have to see pedestrians. So manufacturers have actually, and there's a company in California, just FYI, that has made devices for Google, and in Google, use on Google's when you search Google or when you go to the Street View, and if you've all seen the Google machine, then that captures your actual picture of your house or a street. The device, one of the devices on that Google vehicle was made by a company in California, and the manufacturers, the car makers, I'm not sure that all of them have, but most have bought one of those devices, and they're going to be using those as research so that they can install this device on your car. And if you think about it, you think about the CU, the Q on the Cadillac. When Cadillac sent us an ELR that was an electric vehicle that we kept for a week, and it had a customer user experience screen on it. When I come back, I'll tell you a little more about that. I'll take your calls at 888 Car Clinic, 888-227-2546, vehicle-to-vehicle communication.
I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. Improving ethanol production efficiencies in concert with new farming technologies means the energy benefits of ethanol continue to grow. In recent research, the U.S. Department of Agriculture determined ethanol's energy balance to be 1.7 to 2.3. That's to say, today's ethanol production yields nearly twice as much energy as it took to create the gallon. Also, ethanol's chemical composition means a more complete, cleaner burn of fuel in vehicle engines. Increasing ethanol use in gasoline is directly leading to cleaner air and fewer toxic tailpipe emissions. In 2011, ethanol use reduced tailpipe CO2 equivalent emissions by 25.3 metric tons, equivalent to the emissions of 4 million vehicles. I'm Bobby Likis with 20 facts about ethanol, brought to you by the Renewable Fuels Association.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
I'm your blind spot. And my job is easy. Hide big things.
You're good.
And if you named your own price on car insurance, you could be paying for this yourself. So get Allstate. You can save money and be better protected from mayhem. Like me.
Dollar for dollar. Nobody protects you from mayhem like Allstate agents.
P-Ricey Outfitters, I'm Tina. How can I help you?
I'd like to place an order.
Great. Which item?
The cotton roll neck sweater, large.
Okay. Periwinkle, Loden, or caramel?
The caramel, please.
The what?
I'd like it in caramel.
Oh, the caramel?
Yeah, that's what I said, Tina.
Actually, you said caramel when it's pronounced caramel.
Can't we just call it yellow?
No.
Everyone knows the best part of a Milky Way. They just don't know how to say it. After all, it's our caramel.
It's caramel.
Ugh, that makes a Milky Way great.
If you're familiar with the Kulsiford section of the newspaper, you probably understand this message quite well. You see, in the Kulsiford section, everything gets abbreviated. Consonants, vowels, prepositional phrases, the very building blocks of our language are thrown right out the window. And that makes it difficult when you're trying to sell your car. You've got a limited amount of space to work with, and by the time you abbreviate the description of your car down to a couple of fragmented sentences, it sounds less like a car and more like a Bluck sedan with sniffed like new grip condition lemurs. No wonder more people are selling their cars through eBay Motors. They can post unlimited text and photo descriptions, and with a nationwide marketplace, they're likely to sell it for more. Plus, both parties can be covered by eBay's Vehicle Protection Program. Buyers are happy, sellers are happy, and no one's abbreviating. eBay Motors, a better way to sell your car.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Great show today. Call with your car questions at 888 Car Clinic. Joining me now on the hotline is Joe Liedhegner, Johnson Controls Power Frame Grid Technology. You folks have heard me talk about the Power Frame Grid Technology. Joe's manager of custom engineering for North America. Joe, I want to welcome you for the first time to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Well, thank you for having me.
You know, I'm enamored by the Power Frame Grid Technology, a brand of Johnson Controls, because I have a long knowledge of Johnson Controls powerful technology leadership globally. But specifically with the power frame technology, how long should a car owner expect their vehicle battery to last?
Well, you know, there's a lot of factors that really play into how long is your battery going to last in your vehicle. And the biggest one of those is really where you live. You know, if you're down south, the typical life of a battery can be anywhere from 2 to 4 years. You start getting up into cooler climates and you're looking at more 5 to 6 years on average. But that's really only the first factor that affects how long you're going to last. Other things that are a big driver are the specific vehicle and how you drive. Those are also going to play a role in how long your battery is going to last in your vehicle.
A lot of factors there, but I'm hearing that cold and hot perhaps are and I understand vibrations as well, but cold and hot are the two most significantly damaging factors. If you would, share with our Car Clinic listeners why Power Frame Grid Technology is better than other standard grid technology and why folks should look for the Power Frame logo.
Well, there's a lot that really sets Power Frame off from some of the other conventional technologies that have been used in the past. And what it really results in is a product that's a lot more consistent and behaves more consistently over the entire life of the battery. Now, Power Frame, what we're talking about is the positive grid that's within the battery. And what it's there for really is to carry a lot of the electrical current from all of the active material chemicals that are discharging or recharging. And you have to have something there to be able to consistently, you know, allow that current to flow so that it can turn your starter and, you know, start the engine. Now, one of the things that really damages that and causes that current flow to decrease is corrosion. It's the breakdown, the chemical breakdown of that grid. Now, with the Power Frame technology, what we've done is the way that these grids corrode and decay is much more controlled and very uniform, so that as it breaks down, really what it does is it sort of gets thinner. And so there's still the whole field, if you will, the whole plate is still able to participate in the reaction and provide you energy. With some of the other technologies of yesterday, you know, the corrosion isn't necessarily uniform. The grid will break down in different pieces and places. It's kind of like having a highway. If you completely sever your highway, no more cars are going to be able to go. But if you happen to, you know, knock down one lane and then another, it's just going to slowly decay, but you still have traffic going.
That makes a lot of sense, the positive grid. I guess that begs the question, will a Power Frame Grid technology work in any car?
Absolutely. The power frame technology, what it's really designed for, it's designed to make the battery more consistent and more efficient. In the end, what you get is something that when your car sees the battery, when your starter, your alternator are seeing the battery, it's seeing the same thing every time, which is going to be easier on the components as well.
We're talking with Joe Liedhegner, Johnson Controls Power Frame Grid Technology, Manager of Customer Engineering for North America. Let's shift gears, if you will, and just simply touch on the fact that most batteries seem to die in the cold, or at least during the winter season. How does the winter affect the Power Frame Grid Technology with regard to cold weather as compared to the standard old-fashioned batteries?
Because all you're doing is sort of uniformly thinning the grid, you're making it maybe a little bit narrower. You're not totally shutting off the current flow by breaking wires or and really just shutting down the reaction. What you're able to do is over the life of the battery, you're able to keep providing the power that's needed to start the vehicle. And the corrosion resistance really comes in and plays a factor as well, because with the cold weather, you really care a lot about how much power can I generate. How much power you're able to generate over the years is really more of a function of the history that it's seen, especially heat, which really accelerates the corrosion and the breakdown of that grid.
Well, it makes a lot of sense. Let me shift gears one more time. Let's come south. What about hot weather? How does the hot climate affect the power frame grid technology as compared to, again, historically, the old type batteries?
When you're in the South, the real devil for the batteries is certainly the heat.
Yes.
Because what breaks down, what causes a battery to fail is really the breakdown of that positive grid. It's the corrosion of that grid. And the hotter it gets, the faster it's going to break down and corrode. Now, with power frame technology, you get a much more controlled corrosion. We've really designed it to try and minimize that corrosion. And then as it does corrode, it's very much in a controlled manner in the way that the grid eventually breaks down without really just totally cutting off your power all at once. With other technologies, the way that they break down and corrode, they really just start to crumble. Pieces break here and there, not with the power frame grid.
I get it, I see it, and I know that from a standpoint of our Car Clinic listeners and viewers who want more information can go to powerframe.com. It amazes me at how powerful the battery is, and the website is powerframe.com. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Joe Liedhegner, Johnson Controls Power Frame Grid Technology. It was great talking with you, Joe, and thank you so much for sharing your insight and more about why people should, when they need their next battery, look for the Power Frame logo on the outside, which means true strength on the inside. Thanks for joining us on Car Clinic today.
It was great talking to you, and thanks for having me.
Now, there's a man that knows batteries. I can tell you the Power Frame Grid Technology is exactly what Joe said it was. It is a powerful new development from actually Johnson Controls. It's Power Frame Grid Technology. Power Frame is a brand of Johnson Controls. And just as an FYI, who is Johnson Controls? The 2015 Ford that you hear me talking about, yes, and I'm enamored with the 2015 Ford, folks, because it's aluminum body, 732 pounds on the scales. A live video that I watched between two same models, except one was a 2014, one was a 2015, with the same engines and transmission, running gear, and etc. And the 2015 weighs, standing still, 732 pounds less than its predecessor. That is significant. What does it mean? It means MPG. And why would Ford do that? Because, number one, it's going to be more expensive to Ford, so it's going to make their truck cost more. They have not announced the MPG figures to this date that I'm aware of, and they haven't announced the actual price of the truck. And if you want to order a 2015 Ford F-150, which would be for me, and I like the Silverado. I like that engine and transmission. From a diesel standpoint, I love the Allison transmission in the GM. But I got to tell you, if I were buying a truck, it would be a Ford EcoBoost V6 twin turbo that gives you the more horsepower than a V8. and more torque and better gas mileage, and it'd be aluminum body. Why? Because the car that I currently drive is aluminum body, and I will tell you, when you lighten the load, the same engine will produce more MPG, and it's faster too. So, you know, I mean, kind of like your cake and eat it too. Earlier today, you heard Gary from Baltimore, and I'm going to talk about something disgusting now. And so, Tony, would you put that picture on Watch Bobby Live? So for those of you on Watch Bobby Live, I want you to take a close look at this picture. As I said, Gary from Baltimore had asked about his 2008 Toyota Corollas is an unpleasant stench in the cabin, and it's direct correlation to the cabin air filter quality. And this is more common than you might think. Next Saturday, we're going to have a one-on-one conversation with Rich Dwyer, that's K&N's warranty department manager, and Rich will share with us information on another, it's a K&N Consumer Corner. We'll talk about the importance of your cabin air filter, and yes, K&N does manufacture their washable cabin air filter, which is takes cabin air filters to a whole new level. But the disgusting part that I want to talk about, and I see Robert, you're in the queue, we'll take your call. We recently had a customer who brought a lady that came in with a Lexus RX into our car clinic service pre-repair service shop, and the cabin air filter resembled a bird's nest. And for those of you who can see this, I don't know, Tony, do we check out the picture at watchbobbylive.com. It's on there now. And I will tell you, you can't believe what this filter looks like. And because we're audio, of course, Watch Bobby Live, you can see the video and see the picture. And we don't have this posted anywhere on our...
I think we posted it on our Facebook.
Oh, the Facebook?
Posted on Facebook earlier.
Okay, and that's facebook.com/Bobby Likis, Tony. Folks, two trains of thought here, because I understand as the owner of cars how you feel. You go into get oil changed, and somebody walks up and says, "Oh, you need a filter," and and you've got this. Okay, I'm just here for my $20 oil change. You're just trying to upsell me. We don't go into that arena. We don't offer $20 oil changes because you can't open the hood for $20, and so you're forced, if that's what your business model is, and that's an old-fashioned automotive service business model. It's where the fast in, fast out facilities are begging for your business. And I don't know that it's really proper for doctors to beg for business. You should be the one that's proactive. And if I sound like I'm preaching to you, so be it. I've been in the business 43 years, and I can tell you the car doesn't break down. It's the neglect that causes the car to break down. That's what really causes car problems. So when you take your car in for the 5,000 or 7,000 mile oil change, depending on what your habits are, just know that's the time not only to change the oil and filter, that's a given. It's time to inspect the vehicle inside, outside, around, tire pressure, tread depth, all those things. And you should know this so that when somebody says, let me show you your cabin air filter or I'll check it, let them do it. So this cabin air filter was so nasty that you cannot believe it. And you go to facebook.com/Bobby Likis, and you will see a picture of it. And you're on Watch Bobby Live, you see it now. We actually, as I remember, I looked at it, I saw something crawling in that, like a little mite or something.
There's definitely mouse droppings in it too.
It's unbelievable.
So
It's unbelievable that this car had this Lexus RX, and the car was beautiful, but this owner was driving around in the same car, and every bit of the air that the driver and the passengers breathed came through and over that filter. And what's equally as important to remember is that filter blocks the airflow going through the heater and or air conditioner system, just like at your home when you've got it's easy at home when you open the grid and put a new filter in, and the filter is sagging from the weight of all the dust in the blower trying to get through it. So really it's very interesting, and I can't wait to talk with Rich Dwyer next week. When you tune in, we'll talk with Rich about his K&N cabin air filters. You know about the car air filters. Robert, from Florida. Hey, Robert, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Thanks for holding.
Well, no problem.
Okay.
I went to your site, and your name is spelled differently. With an I and a U at the, I don't know how, I guess you spell it I-S instead of U-S?
Yes, sure.
Oh, because they have it U.S. also. I have a 2002 T-Bird, and the check engine light went on, and the guy told me it was number 3 being fouled by an oil leak, which he's told me that, I'm going to have to change the head gasket because the grommets there. So I did that, and at the same time I changed the air filter. And it did it again. The light didn't go out, so I went there, and he says, well, now it's number 3 and 4 are misfiring, but it didn't say oil leak.
Right.
And so he said, well, number 1's good, so switch the coil from number 1 to number 4.
Okay.
And so I did that, and then it went 1, 3, and 4. And it also gave me a P0113, which he said was the intake air temperature. Is that the same as the air charge?
Yeah, well, in older cars, you got an 02, but it was called originally back in the, I guess, 80s or so, 86, it would be 86 and up when Ford first came out with throttle body injection. Well, actually, the 86 model was a sequential injection. The one before that, 85, had the throttle body. But either way, air charge sensor is really just the intake sensor for the temperature of the air. In other words, you've got a mass airflow sensor on cars that checks all of the air coming through. But air, and Robert, this is for you to know, air that's at 100 degrees Fahrenheit, a cubic foot of air, and that's how it's measured by cubic feet. A cubic foot of air at 100 degrees is, let's say, 10 by 10, just imaginary, 10 by 10, 10 inches by 10 inches. But that same air at 0 degrees would be 2 to 3 inches. In fact, that's why when supercharged or turbocharged cars are used, that heats the air up, and so you're not getting more air. And what do? You got to cool the air. And speaking of cooling the air, I got to cool our call. I'm sorry to cut you off. You're welcome to stay for the next hour coming up and give us a call. Thank you so much for tuning in this hour. The time goes away too quickly, Tony. Thanks, folks, for joining us. See you after the top of the hour.
Approval of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated.
Fortune 500 companies choose Royal Purple lubricants to protect and improve the performance of their multi-million-dollar equipment. The same high-performance technology is also available for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, or ATV. Royal Purple enhances performance and provides superior protection for anything wrapped in metal. Royal Purple is the performance oil that outperforms. For independent tests and endorsements that document Royal Purple benefits, go to royalpurple.com. That's royalpurple.com.
I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. Upon EPA approval, advanced ethanol production from grain sorghum will give the nation another option as it aims to meet the federal goal of producing 36 billion gallons of renewable fuels per year by 2022. I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. Brought to you by the Renewable Fuels Association. Drive to ethanolrfa.org.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
What can you do to help your child succeed?
What can you do? What can you do to help your child succeed in the new school year?
Set clear rules for internet use, especially about sharing personal information.
Encourage your children to check out library books and read to them often.
Ask your teenager to write down her personal strengths and interests to plan for life after high school.
Teach me about healthy eating by leading by example.
Read what your kids read and discuss it with them.
Visit school.
Getting your children ready for the new school year starts long
before the first day of school. Hi, I'm Mary Bell, president of the Wisconsin Education Association Council. To help your child succeed this year, we've assembled tips from some of Wisconsin's educators and made them available at weac.org. Find out how you can prepare your child with tips on everything from reading to eating healthy to staying safe on the internet. We'd also like to hear your stories and ideas for connecting your family to our classrooms. Find out more and share your stories at weac.org.
My name's Roland Sands. I am a motorcycle builder, designer. Generally kind of stoked to bring things in my head to reality. That's what it is all about, bringing an idea to life. I mean, there's no more complete circle than that. That's the challenge, you know. I was around motorcycles, I mean, since I can remember, really. It's kind of been in my blood. When I was 18, it was like a drug addiction, man. Nothing else in my life really mattered a whole lot. It was like, I'm gonna go out and ride and race and try and win. So that's what I did for about 10 years. And I didn't know I was going to be a national champion, and I didn't know that I'd end up winning national road races and breaking track records and racing at the highest level. I really wanted to go and make something of myself that didn't really have to do with anybody else, because I knew that no one would be able to take that away from me, you know? Pushing myself seems kind of like a way of life. Every time I was on a bike, I'd push, and I'd always push past the limit, and now I really get the majority of my satisfaction from creation. I don't know, some people call me one of the top builders, I guess I am, but what's different is in this realm of building motorcycles, it's not about being the best as much as it's about just creating and wanting to build new stuff and cool stuff. To constantly innovate is the challenge, always doing something new and different. And today it's so tough because there's so many people building really great things, it's hard to stand out, you know? So you gotta constantly push. Creating something, it is about bringing something to life. A motorcycle to me is like the personification of that because it like involves so many different things. It involves art, fabrication, design, engineering, rubber, steel, aluminum, titanium, paint, wood, whatever you can throw at it. So motorcycles are to me like the finest display of bringing an idea to life, making it real, making something you can actually touch, feel, and ride. That's what it's all about. Being on a bike for me is just essential to life. It's the purest expression of freedom and mobility. The faster you go, the harder you ride, the harder you push, you feel it so much more on a motorcycle. If you're going 100 miles an hour, you know it. It's draining physically, but also mentally, because you put so much focus into it. When you're on a bike, it strips everything else away. It just makes anything else in your life disappear. I'll never be away from bikes. It's just what I do, what my family does, what everyone I know does, so safe to say I'll be around for a little while. I don't see any other way for me personally but to just go after it every day. It just makes sense to me, so that's what I do. Life is one big project. We gotta hit it every day.
Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. If you have a car question for Bobby, call now at 1-800-264-5454, toll free from anywhere in America. And now, here's your host, Bobby Likis.
And thank you, Marty White. Also, another number that we use permanently, in addition to that number, is 888 Car Clinic. So just that makes it easier for you. 888 Car Clinic, that's 227-2546. So what is Car Clinic? Car Clinic is an automotive car talk program that covers the gamut, from everything from fuels to oil to whatever make, year, model that you drive. And I share with you information that I've learned in my 43 years of automotive service. I also share with you information about our partners and sponsors because I test those products and I use them on my car. So I'm in a unique position. What does that mean for you? It means that I give you buzzwords so that you can better communicate with your local service shop, save you money, better understand your automobile and what to do to keep it running and in your garage and out of mine. This segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. You need new brakes? Find the brake parts you need at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Brands you trust like Brake Best Select, and Wagner Thermal Quiet, all at guaranteed low prices. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. See store for details. Also, this segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you by Escort. Take your ticket protection to the max with a Passport Max, the first and only detector with high-definition HD radar performance. And visit escortradar.com to learn more. Back with your calls at 888 Car Clinic. Let's go to our Car Clinic inbox for another listener question. Dear Bobby, I'm confused. Are radar detectors legal? Yes. Good news is that radar detectors are entirely legal in 49 states. Only Virginia and the District of Columbia still have radar detector use prohibitions. Legal in 49 states because the modern view of radar detectors is far beyond ticket avoidance. Rather, radar detectors are now regarded as safety devices, providing increased and advanced driving awareness. For example, when you have an advanced warning of a potential road hazard, such as a law enforcement officer conducting a traffic stop on the side of the road, you won't be surprised on your approach, and you won't be involved in any sudden braking or loss of control mid-course response. A really good radar detector, such as the award-winning Passport Max all-digital radar detector, alerts drivers before they're surprised with stops up ahead. With a Passport Max high-definition radar detector from Escort, you can drive smarter, and you can drive safer.
O'Reilly. Eventually it's going to happen. You'll turn the key and your engine won't start. Don't lose your ability to get around. Visit O'Reilly Auto Parts for a Super Start battery. Whether it's a reliable economy, hard-working premium, or powerful extreme, you'll find it at an everyday low price. Don't let a dead battery slow you down. Visit O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly
heat. It can destroy your engine. Beat the heat with Purple Ice from Royal Purple. Purple Ice is a high-performance synthetic additive for your radiator that improves heat transfer and prevents engine overheating. Nothing cools like Purple Ice, and Purple Ice works with red or green coolant. Go to reduceengineheat.com for more information. Then pick up Purple Ice at Advance and O'Reilly Auto Parts and Pep Boys. That's Purple Ice.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Nothing can wreck an evening like getting busted for not listening. And because at Molson we've been helping you make friends since 1786, here's a practice exercise to help you focus on her, even in a distracting bar. Listen closely, you will be quizzed.
My cousin Valerie had a baby last week.
He tries the right side. He breaks the tackle. Oh!
He's 7 pounds, 2 ounces. So cute. Blue eyes, red hair. He was a breech baby, so you know.
I just want a guy to give me a good time all night long. No strings attached.
For her. She was in labor for 17 hours.
Dudes, who wants some Molson? I'm buying.
I hope. They named him Aiden. I like it. Masculine.
Oh, is my thumb showing again?
Probably because they met in London.
Okay, what was her cousin's name, baby's weight, sex, eye color, hair, time and labor? If you answered Valerie Aiden, 7 pounds, 2 ounces, boy, blue, red, 17 hours, congratulations. If you didn't, keep practicing. With an easy drinking Molson, of course. Molson, making friends since 1786. Imported from Canada by Molson USA, LLC, Golden, Colorado.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
Okay, let's get started with this hour of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. 888-227-2546 is the number for you to call. I want to reach out to WPNW 1260 AM in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Brad Lancer and Jason Craner, General Manager and Program Director there. And also, if that's your neck of the woods, let us hear from you at 888 Car Clinic, WPNW 1260 AM, Grand Rapids, Michigan. Now let's take a call from Nathan. Nathan, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Good afternoon, Bobby.
Yeah, good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing good. I have a 2000 Silverado V8.
Okay.
And occasionally when I'm driving it, and there's no real time frame or rhyme or reason, but it'll start bumping a little bit, like it's going out of gear into neutral, and then eventually it'll just stay out of gear. And now if I let off the gas, the engine will stay running and idle. If I press the gas, it will stall the engine. Now the RPMs never wind out. So the transmission guy that I took it to says it might be an engine problem.
I would agree.
But whenever I bring it to someone to have them look at it, they can never duplicate the problem.
Yeah,
because sometimes it'll go months without doing it. But then, of course, I get stuck on the side of the road at the worst possible time.
Yeah, that's a real challenge. And as I was listening to your complaint there with a problem with your vehicle. And so often, and this is a typical problem, Nathan, because the computer that controls the transmission shifting and the computer that controls the engine's tune, the state of tune, talk to each other, and depending on the throttle position, I mean, this is true for any vehicle, but it's no longer mechanical now, it's electronically controlled. So whatever the engine temp is, whatever the road speed, which is measured by the drive shaft, and whatever the engine speed, which is measured by the tachometer inside the electronic control module. Even if you don't have a tach on your vehicle dashboard, there's always a tach in the control modules. And so what's happening here is you could have something so simple, two trains of thought here. One, well, let me ask a question. Does the check engine light come on?
Yes, the check engine light's on. I've had about 3 diagnostics ran on it, and I've actually had it in the Chevy dealership as well. And they've done everything they can do without tearing into the engine or the transmission. They can't duplicate the problem either. And they said the check engine light was an O2 sensor.
Well, so let me ask this question. Here's what has to be done. Both of those systems, as I said, talk with each other. They communicate.
Yes.
As such, if the engine, and this is really strange, but I'll try to make this as plain as I can make it. If the engine controls if the engine, which controls the power and the RPMs and the air-fuel ratio and the timing, and that in turn is matched to your throttle position to tell the transmission when to shift. Because if you're driving easy, let's say you're house hunting and you're looking for an address, the transmission would shift out of first gear in a second, let's say it's 6 miles per hour, because you're walking speed. But if you're accelerating onto a on-ramp on the interstate, then that same transmission would shift out of first gear maybe at 25 miles an hour. Well, how does it know to do that? It knows because it gets its cues from other sensors. Now, let's say that your engine has a problem, like an O2 sensor or whatever's causing the O2 sensor light to come on. Just because the O2 sensor light is on, it doesn't mean that the sensor's bad. It means that that particular part of the engine or transmission or let's see, I'm trying to find the words because I want because you've talked to a lot of people and I want to make sure you understand.
Yeah.
If the engine doesn't perform, or if the engine's partners, sensors, send a signal to the computer that there's a problem, then the engine won't allow certain things to happen. And that in turn will affect the transmission shift, because although the engine is running and the speed is going at 30, at 40, at 20 or 10 or whatever, and your throttle position is the same thing, the transmission doesn't act properly because the engine has a problem. So let me boil it down to you. The ECM, which controls the computer and controls the timing, that part needs to be completed first so that you can eliminate that from the string. It's like an email string, and you've got a glitch, and you respond to all, and pretty soon, it's like an SMS, like a text message. My God, sometimes I get a text and you get what you. Next thing you know, you got what, Tony? You're shaking your head.
It's like the group text,
like a group text, and
bing, bing, bing,
bing,
bing,
bing,
bing,
bing, and pretty soon you say, "Hey, I'm done here. Let me out." So, Nathan, here's what I would do, and this is your first to do. Fix what is there that's saying, I got a problem. And even though it may or may not fix the transmission, it's affecting the operation of the whole group. You see where I'm going there?
Yeah. Okay. Well, let me tell you this. Now, when it does.
You're not going to listen to me. Oh no, you're not going to. Wait. You listen. You're not going to go do what I suggest because you already have the problem fixed. You call me to ask my opinion, so I want you to know that you've been to the dealer. You've been everywhere else. Now you come to Car Clinic. So your to-do is to fix what is begging to be fixed first. Otherwise, you're going to have the same problem. And now I'll listen to you.
Okay, I'm sorry. Well, what was it you were telling me to fix first?
So fix what is known by the computer on the vehicle that's begging to be attention.
Okay. So fix the O2 sensor.
Now you're listening. Not only the O2 sensor, fix what caused the O2 sensor light to come on. Doesn't mean that's going to correct the problem. A sensor may or may not fix the problem. But for you and for the dealer that can't fix this problem, which is what you called me about, fix what they can fix, which is the O2 sensor problem. You understand where I'm going?
Yes, I understand.
All right.
Start with the easy thing first. Start with what you know first.
Yeah. Stop the bleeding first. It's like a car comes in our service shop and the man says, I got a power window, I got a radio speaker that doesn't work and his water pump's falling off. Well, hey, so your window doesn't work or your speaker doesn't work. We got to fix this water pump or it'll burn the engine up. Oh, that's what you call stop the bleeding. So first things first, because everything is in the same chat room together, for lack of a better text group, as you said, Tony. That makes sense, Nathan?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it does.
Go do it. I'm glad you called me. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Bobby.
You're welcome. That's the way it is, folks. I'm getting fired up, Tony, because we could talk about what ifs all day long. There are hundreds of thousands of problems with that appear otherwise. There's only one light, it's a check engine light. So we got an O2 sensor, so fix that problem first and then go from there. Let's go to Oregon. Jack, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. You're on the air.
Bob.
Hi.
Hi, Bobby. Love the show. I got a Silverado 99, steering wheel locked, key won't turn, and I'm in this emergency as we speak.
Okay, here's what I want you to do. I want you to pull the key out. You're in the vehicle now?
No, sir.
Okay. No, sir, you're not. Okay. Here's what I want you to do. Well, first, when you parked the vehicle, did you turn it to go into a driveway? Did you turn the wheel? Do you have to turn the wheel, or have you parked like you're in a parking mall and you just pull straight into a slot and turn the key off, and now you can't get it turned back on, versus pulling into your driveway where you had to turn to get in the driveway? So the last time you parked this vehicle, did you turn the steering wheel, have to turn the steering wheel to get it up in the drive?
No, it was a parallel park with no other cars.
Okay. Parallel park with no other car. So you just kind of veered over to the curb and pulled up and stopped at your convenience?
Yeah, the wheels are straight.
Okay. Then here's what I would suggest. Of course, make sure the key is in. Try a second key. Holding pressure on the ignition tumbler to turn, which it won't turn, take the left hand and move the steering wheel left and right. And what is common is the locking pin has pressure on it because it was parked with a power steering helping to take the pressure off of the steering, and then when you turn the engine off, the power steering goes away, and whatever pressure was on the steering box that you don't feel now is pressed against the locking pin of the steering wheel. It's a common problem. And so it's the same thing as trying to pull a car out of park. You got the key on, it cranks, and you can't get it out of park. You got to step on the brake first. And the bottom line is the little pin that's a locking pin for the shift mechanism has interference, and you got to jiggle the stick. So for you jiggle the steering wheel left and right while you're trying to turn the key, and that's all that you can do as the owner of the car to get beyond this. And you got it? Good.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for calling. Thanks for your kind words from Oregon, Jack. We're going to come back, and the board's lit up. We're going to take all these calls. Don't go away, folks. Great show coming up. Stant is the nation's leading manufacturer of automotive fuel caps, radiator caps, and thermostats. Stant brings their original equipment expertise to the Stant line of quality aftermarket products. Take fuel caps. Stant offers the only aftermarket fuel cap designed and manufactured with all the safety features of OE caps. A lost motion feature gives the cap handle some freedom to turn while maintaining a seal. A breakaway groove allows the cap to remain sealed even if some of the cap has broken away. Both are safety features, helping prevent fuel leakage during a crash. Further, Stant locking fuel caps protect your vehicle from fuel theft and vandalism. Older fuel cap seals can leak over time, which allows fuel vapors to escape and can also affect gas mileage. Replacing your gas cap is an easy and inexpensive maintenance item for your vehicle. Drive to Stant.com to learn more. Stant, we work well under pressure.
If your car's air conditioning isn't blowing cold air,
it isn't,
then you need an AC Pro.
Is there one around here?
Yeah, you.
Me? But I can't.
New do-it-yourself AC Pro is the 10-minute cold air solution. It's fast, easy, and saves you money. With AC Pro, you'll have cold air blowing again in just minutes.
Wow, it's freezing in here, and I did it myself.
See? You are an AC Pro.
Yes, I am.
New AC Pro, the 10-minute do-it-yourself auto AC cold air solution.
What is the number one cause of battery failure? Corrosion of the positive grid. The positive grid in the battery provides the power to start your car. Weak grids are susceptible to corrosion and expansion, leading to battery failure. Batteries with power frame grid technology inside are up to 66% more durable and more corrosion resistant than other grid designs. Look for the power frame logo on the outside of your next battery. It means true strength on the inside. Visit powerframe.com to find a retailer near you.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
I'm your tailgate grill. Your buddy was in such a rush to get into the game, he didn't quite put me out. I see you bought the industrial-sized bottle of lighter fluid. Smart. And if you got cut rate insurance, you could be paying for this yourself. So get an Allstate agent and be better protected from mayhem. Like me.
Mayhem is everywhere. Are you in good hands?
What makes your adrenaline rush? What makes it pump? What makes it zoom? Whatever it is, Sure Advantage will keep you dry. Sure Advantage, adrenaline strength for the adrenaline powered with the highest level of protection you can buy. Nothing is stronger. That's the advantage. Adrenaline strength Sure Advantage.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to this segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. And for those of you holding, we will take your calls. And folks, thousands, this is unbelievable, of Car Clinic listeners entered our Another Bobby's Big Gas Sweepstakes. And in the past, we've had winners from all over the nation, Dallas to Detroit, Atlanta to Seattle, New York to San Francisco, and this time our winners from Malibu. Our Another Bobby's Big Gas Sweepstakes winner, did I say that correctly, Tony? Big Gas Sweepstakes winner is Daphne Andrews in Malibu, California. So Tony, let's see if we can get Daphne on the line. And folks, this is a live call. We're going to reach out to Daphne and let her know that she is a winner of one of our prizes on Another Bobby's Big Gas Sweepstakes. So we'll see. Beep, beep. Here we go. This is interesting. And that little beep, beep that you heard with Tony using the clunky, getting her to actually call the number here. And it's a live call here. Yes. Unlike the Millionaire, or where you get one call, it rings one time. So it's a tape. That's all tape.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system. 91622.
Oh, okay, yeah, kill that. Well, so this is the first time this has ever really happened to me. Where
recording,
we got
to hang up or press 1 for more options.
This is Bobby Likis from Bobby Likis Car Clinic, and I have some really good news for you, Daphne. We are live. It is Saturday morning. It's 11:27 Eastern Time. I know you're on the West Coast, so maybe you're late getting in and therefore late getting up. I just want you to know that we have some great news for you. Unfortunately, you'll have to return our call, and the call that you can get us back is 888 Car Clinic. That's 888-227-2546. Love to hear from you. Thank you. Well, there you have it, Tony.
I bet you she's going to wish she answered that phone.
Well, what can I say? Well, we just have to go on, because I want to congratulate again Daphne, I guess, for her win, and the winning of actually what she doesn't know is that she won a $500 gas card from Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Of course, she's got to call us back to get it.
Well, she does have to call us back.
If she doesn't, we'll just have to pick somebody else.
We will pick somebody. And I want to thanks to you all and all of our listeners who tune into Bobby Likis Car Clinic and who entered. And just for you to know, you're still alive here in this Another Bobby's Big Gas Sweepstakes. You stay tuned. We'll have more sweeps soon. And don't forget to check us out. Our new social media contest and giveaways, where all you have to do is to like us or follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, you name it. Jerry in Texas, thanks for holding, Jerry. So here we are. We should just give Jerry this. But Jerry, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Glad to have you in the house.
How you doing today?
I'm doing great. Had a couple of little bumps in the road there. Daphne didn't answer the phone, but that's okay. What can I do for you?
Yes, I got a 2005 Kia Sportage V6 AC problem. It has enough Freon to kick on the compressor, but after about 30 seconds of it running, it just shuts down. It won't come back on. I'll turn off the vehicle. Sometimes it triggers back on. A lot of times it doesn't come back on.
Well, of course, the first thing you need to do is hook up gauges to it and check. And actually, it needs to have a full AC test, which means that you evacuate the system to see how much Freon is actually in the system. Has that been done?
Right. No, I kind of know a little bit about AC. I put the gauges on there, and it has probably maybe, I'm thinking 9 ounces of Freon.
How would you possibly know that?
Well, just when it's kicked on, when it shut off, it didn't peg. And the last time we put Freon, we put it, I think it holds, I think it was, let me see here, 1 pound, maybe 2 ounces.
Okay.
So it wasn't, and it just, recently, we just charged it recently. So now it's showing a little bit, when I turn it off, it doesn't peg the way it used to. You know how it shuts.
Yeah. Well, when you charged it before, recently, did you test for leaks?
No, it's not my car. It was a friend of mine's car, and he said everything was fine.
Oh, yeah, I see. Well, I can't answer your question because you don't have all the information. So, in other words,
right.
Yeah, I mean, it would be my guess. My guess is as good as yours, because the only way to really test the system is to use a verifiable machine, which you're familiar. If you're AC, you evacuate the system, which means you draw out all the Freon, or all the refrigerant rather, that's in it, and then you'll measure, because that's measured by the gram. You measure, and Jerry, the later model cars use less than a pound of refrigerant, and we had to buy a new machine because the machine that we used for years was measuring 1.5 pounds, and when you got a system that holds 0.8 of a pound, then if you're down 2 ounces, or half an ounce, or if you're down 15 grams, the machine has to know that. So for you, the easiest, for your friend, and you know this, and this will help you to help them, you gotta have the machine evacuate the system to know how much refrigerant is there, fill it to its whatever you specs are, 1.4 as you said, or whatever, and then run it, and then it will stay running, and then check it for leaks and take the next steps. Does that help you and direct you?
Yes. The only thing is I can't get it to stay on long enough, I guess, to get a pressure test on the high side, or not a pressure test, a leak test with the meter.
Well,
and I'm not sure if it would still read. But.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, and there again, it may be that as you know, the car has an automatic shutdown for the compressor to save the compressor in case it's low of Freon, which means it would also be low of oil. So those are the kind of things that are built into the system. And one more thing that before I let you go, you could be on the right track here, and it just be a little bit low or not low, and it could have a hold-in relay, and that relay could get hot, and that relay could be the problem. But that's kind of putting the cart before the horse with regard to the diagnostics of what you're trying to fix for your friend. That makes sense?
Yes, and I think that's what needs to be done is just take it in and get a diagnosis.
Yeah. Hey, I'm really glad you called. I'm glad you called me. It sounds like that you have the right next steps to follow, and that you can get to the other side of the problem.
Appreciate your help.
I appreciate you, Jerry. Thank you so much for your call. 888-227-2546. I want to share with you about our and I see that Paul and Noel, you're on the line. I'll come to you as well. Royal Purple. I love the products that Royal Purple provides for you, because I use the products and in my cars. Synchromax, which increases the performance and expands the life of the manual transmission, improves the shifting. So if you got a standard transmission automobile, the Royal Purple's Synchromax is what needs to be in that vehicle. And I say that because I actually use that in my Viper. That the only thing I didn't like about that car when I bought it was the notchiness of the transmission, and Synchromax fixed that. It wasn't a problem. It just made it a whole lot better. So that's really what Royal Purple does. Also, the oil that you hear me talking about is API certified, premium warranty compliant for newer engines. Just want you to know that. And the HMX sort of revitalizes high mileage vehicles. So if you've got 75 to 100,000 miles, Royal Purple's high mileage oil, i.e. HMX, is your choice next time you get an oil change. And then if you've got a high performance street car, HPS, that keeps your high performance engine clean and it protects it, and it has more stuff in it, more chemicals, and I'm not a chemist, but I can tell you it has the ingredients that are designed and formulated to protect your high performance street engines. And then what I'm really proud of now, and for those of you who have regular cars, all formulations from Royal Purple come with a 1-year, 1 oil change pledge. And for more information, go to royalpurpleconsumer.com and check out that 1-year, 1 oil change pledge. Take a call from Mark from Paul. Let's go to Paul. Paul, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Thanks for your patience.
How are you this morning?
I'm busy. I'm fine. I'm just trying to solve questions and deal with I mean, cars can be really fun, and then they can really be perplexing. You've got an 02 Mercury wagon. How may I help you?
Yeah, it's been a great car. I've got 204,000 miles on it.
Wow.
And right now, just to give you a little bit of the most recent repair history, I had a fuel injector that went bad. So while I was in there, I decided to change all 3 on that front rail. And then I changed all the gaskets for the upper manifold above and below, and I changed all the O-rings on the other 3 fuel injectors, upper and lower.
Good.
I figured I'm there, I might as well be safe, do the whole deal.
Yeah, I like what I'm hearing.
And then everything back together again, and after a couple of days, I got a misfire. I got an engine light on, so I went and got a diagnostic, and it said misfire and a bunch of other things in cylinder 4, which is passenger front. Yeah, passenger side front cylinder.
Okay.
The way my engine's configured. So I went back in, took everything out, and I swapped over the fuel injectors. I took one from one of the new ones from one of the other, put it in there just to make sure it wasn't a bad fuel injector.
Yeah.
Well,
that's cool.
Okay, now I got the engine light coming back on again, and I'm getting a fuel smell. There's no leaking fuel that I'm aware of. I looked all over, but I'm still getting a fuel smell that seems to be coming out of the exhaust. When I'm like when I park the car, I smell fuel.
Wow. You know what you may have? Well, I've got a hard break, Paul, and I'm going to ask you to stay there. Noel, I'll ask you to stay there as well, and folks, I'll give you the opportunity to get in. 888 Car Clinic, 888-227-2546. And Paul, I've got some ideas there. I like where you're going with this, with doing step by step. And that's really the way you get from point A to point B, and finally the solution. And then when I come back, we will finish the conversation with Paul.
Fortune 500 companies choose Royal Purple lubricants to protect and improve the performance of their multi-million-dollar equipment. The same high-performance technology is also available for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, or ATV. Royal Purple enhances performance and provides superior protection for anything wrapped in metal. Royal Purple is the performance oil that outperforms. For independent tests and endorsements that document Royal Purple benefits, go to royalpurple.com. That's royalpurple.com.
I'm Bobby Likis with today's Drive Smarter tip, brought to you by Escort, the world's best radar and laser detectors. Increasing MPG keeps more money in your pocket. How can you improve gas mileage? Check front end alignment, tire pressure, and once the cabin is cooled, run a lower AC setting. Also, drive sensibly. Abrupt starts and stops can lower mileage by up to 33%. Visit escortradar.com to learn about special offers on the Passport IQ, a GPS nav and radar detector in one. Don't just drive smarter. Escort.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
This is Willie Works.
Hi.
Back to answer all your laundry questions, like how to get out those tough embedded odors.
Like when your husband comes back from the plant. Woo, smelling like he brought the whole place home.
Or when one of the cows escapes and you have to wrestle it to the ground.
Uh-huh.
What? I think that's a good one.
They're all good ones, and I have the solution. Febreze for the wash.
Ooh.
Just add a capful with your detergent and odors disappear.
Wow, one capful is all it takes?
Yep, Febreze for the wash. One cap, one wash.
And say goodbye to odors.
Another great place to use Visa.
Your heart pounds. Your body sweats. Whatever you do, don't look down. Okay, you can look. Because this is the Boulder Rock Club, the largest indoor climbing club in Colorado, where 10,000 square feet of scalable walls give you all the thrills of a Rocky Mountain climb. So bring your sense of adventure and your Visa card, because the Boulder Rock Club will take you to the top, but they won't take American Express. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
We're a land of cynics. We don't believe anything anymore. You know why? Because we've been told we've won $1 million, that it's new and improved, that it slices and dices, that our favorite singer is still alive, that we'll be prosecuted if we cut off the tags, and of course that everything is backed with a 100% money-back guarantee. So when we hear the words customer service, we don't believe it. Travelocity isn't surprised if you're a little skeptical when they say they have excellent customer service, and that there's actually a pleasant face behind this website, a living, breathing person with a supercharged computer full of answers. Someone who's willing to help when you get lost, and most of all, someone that will actually pick up the phone when you call with a question or a concern. Customer service is just another example of how Travelocity puts you in control of travel. Chances are you'll never have to use it, but it's good to know it'll be there if you need it. Travelocity.com. Go virtually anywhere.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome to this segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Glad to have you join us today. Interesting scenarios today with callers and your problems and your car questions. And we're talking with Paul, who has an 02 Mercury wagon. And Paul, you put in some injectors, and then you had the check engine, number 4 cylinder that was misfire. And while you were rechecking it, you moved some injectors around. And so basically, and to catch me up to speed, the engine runs okay, but you just smell raw fuel. Is that what you're smelling in the car when you shut it off?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just two other quick things. I replaced all the plugs and all the wires while I was doing all that other work. I figured I might as well just do the whole deal.
Yeah.
And then the other day, I pulled the spark plug out on number 4, and it's coated with oil.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. The new plug or the old plug?
The new plug. So I pulled number 5 out and I swapped them over.
Okay.
And I'm still getting the same issue.
Yeah. Well, with that same cylinder. If we were to back up without having to repeat everything that we've talked about, as a courtesy to those listeners, but if we backed up, what was your original reason for starting to work on the car?
I was getting a really strong fuel smell, and upon visual inspection, I saw one of the fuel injectors was leaking.
Oh, and did you have a check engine light? And was that, you don't know if the plug was foul, but obviously if it was, you would have had a check engine light. Did you have a light on to start with?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Did you have a check engine light on to start with when you smelled the fuel back?
No, I did not.
Okay.
It was just a very strong fuel smell, so I just visually went around and I saw fuel leaking from that rail that connects to the top of the injectors.
Yeah.
I saw it leaking.
You've done so many things, and I like the way that you transition from one possibility or potential problem to another. I think that there's something here on the table that you haven't found and or corrected or maybe even created. The oil fouling, you've got 200,000 miles on the engine. Have you had any history of oil usage?
Not until recently. I'm noticing that I'm burning a little bit more oil than usual.
Yeah.
Like Normally, I'd go about a half a quart for, 5,000-6,000 miles. Now, it's a quart.
Well, here's what I think that your next step would be. Number one, go back to basics. And I'm not saying start over, but in essence, I'm saying get a base. Like you build a building, you got to build a foundation. The foundation that I would like for you to share with me or yourself during this next week or so is run a compression test on the engine. And to run a proper compression test, you must remove all spark plugs. You must open the throttle wide open and make sure that it's open, wide open. And then the engine should be not cold. It should be at not necessarily 200 degrees because you can't work on it, but it should be warm. And you should turn the engine over no more than 6 revolutions. And the first pump, you don't know where the piston's going to start when you put the compression gauge in. So the first poof will be 75, 60, 70, whatever pounds. Forget it. But the second one should be somewhere around 75 to 90, and the number 6 revolution should be whatever the final pressure would be. And basically what I'm cautioning you not to do, is to spin the engine over with a compression gauge until you get the pressure that you like. That's not the way you test it because the engine doesn't have that option. It's either got to get one stroke and one stroke only. So I'd like for you to run a compression test. And you could have, you've got your external fuel leak problem solved, but you could have, during this procedure or during this some length of time, a problem with a ring or a piston or whatever inside the cylinder, and you've got oil on that plug, so that we need to know how that cylinder compares with the other 6. You got me?
Yeah, got it.
Okay, that's what you want to do. And even if that's not what ultimately is going to take to fix the vehicle, once we know what's on the inside of your engine, Paul, we'll know if we can fix things by not opening up, and we can fix things by on the outside. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay, all right. Do that. Feel free to call me back.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome very much. Nice to talk with you. We'll take another call from Noel. Noel, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Thanks for holding.
Good morning, Bobby.
Good morning, sir.
Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Well, what took you so long? or maybe your car's get you. Okay. How may I help you?
I have a 99 Lexus RX 300, and pretty much I've owned the car for 3 years. It's very dependable and everything, although it's always had a chronic problem of when I start it in the morning and drive it, or if I shut it down during the day and for a few hours and drive it again, it takes it like a half mile to a mile before it'll shift into the upper gear. You feel it's like you got it in the second gear, and then after running it for 2 minutes on the road or a minute, then it'll shift. It'll be fine the rest of the day. Am I looking at a problem coming towards me?
I think that you are, because while today's cars use transmission shift computers, and which is it talks directly and communicates with the engine control module. There are you can reprogram or update the program in those units, so that could very well, a reprogramming could potentially repair your transmission shifting, and the only way that would be known, the first thing and the obvious thing to do would be to service the transmission and pull the existing fluid out and replace it with new. How many miles did you say on the 99 model car?
I've got 180, and I have changed fluid. I'd say a year ago with the filter.
Okay, I'm gonna say what needs to be done next is there needs to be a professional scan tool connected to the vehicle, and then road test the vehicle to check for whatever shift pattern. And I'm concerned that you've got an internal transmission. It's my concern, because no matter how much computerization there is on a car, you're controlling a mechanical, hydraulically controlled device. So if you've got one of the clutches or clutch packs You think of a standard transmission as a dry clutch, and you think of an automatic transmission as being automatic, but it just has a bunch of wet clutches in it, and it uses a piston with seals, just like a syringe that you would inject medicine into an arm or a body, except you don't use a thumb plunger. You use hydraulic pressure that pushes the plunger, and the plunger is clutch packed. So I'm concerned that you've got a leak in the transmission internally, and if you got bleeding by a seal, that clutch won't hook up until the seal is softened, and heat helps to soften the seals. And there are some, in some cases, I'm not recommending this at this time, but in some cases you can actually use a transmission sealer which softens the seals, and they do that with what's called naphthenic oil. It's not voodoo and black magic. It's naphthenic oil, but you would never pour naphthenic oil into an automatic transmission unless you knew how much naphthenic oil you had, because a little bit can soften the seals. Too much can over soften the seals, and not only will it work, it won't unwork. It'll apply a transmission that has the wrong sealer applied, or too much sealer, ruins the seals. The seals get soft, and when that happens, it actually will seize in gear, because once you take the pressure off, it doesn't come back. Like a brake caliper that is stuck and burns the brake pads up because the piston inside the caliper doesn't retract. You understand what the picture I'm trying to paint? Oh, okay. So for you, I think a professional ASE certified technician should ride the car with you using a professional grade scan tool to check to see that the transmission is getting its proper signals, and then if it's not acting correctly and not behaving correctly, somebody has to go inside.
Well, okay, Bobby. It's good news and bad news.
Yeah, I know. It's good and bad news, but I'm hoping that in the process of the testing, and I'm not going to use the word diagnostics, because diagnostic implies that they got a machine you hook up and tells you everything's wrong with the car. That's just not the way it is. So you test first things first. You want to test to make sure that the transmission is being told what to do by what you can read. And what you can read, we can read, are the electronics of the car. And what we can't read is what's going on inside the transmission, but you got to start with the outside first, just like you do at a doctor when he checks your heart rate and pulse and all those things. So that's where I want you to go to start with, and that will hopefully get you to the next lily pad, and that will be one other than internal bleeding. Hey, good luck, Noel. Thanks for calling.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye. Let's go to Kansas. Talk to Landon. Landon, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have a 2001 Ford Ranger with a 2.5-liter four-cylinder.
Okay.
Last year I changed the spark plug wires. In doing so, I damaged the EGR tube. I replaced that.
Okay.
Replaced the valve, and it's been idling rough this year. And I took it to a mechanic, and he checked it. And I had mud daubers that gotten on the cam gear, and it caused the belt to be off 2 teeth. He replaced that. He replaced the belt, the tensioner, and he replaced the EGR sensor, what's causing the light to come on, off and on. Check engine light periodically.
Yes.
And we fixed all that, and it still idles rough. The mechanic thought I had a vacuum leak somewhere, and I've been spraying WD-40 anywhere and everywhere I think where it might suck it in a little bit and make it straighten out.
Right.
And I haven't had no luck trying to get it to. If I mash on the gas, rev it up real high and let off, the engine will stall sometimes. Or if it keeps running, it'll run really super rough. But it idles rough all the time.
Well, let's ironically, Landon, I have specific instructions that I will give to you, suggestions. It's what this is what I would do if the car belonged to me. And if you heard the call or the couple of calls back, I talked about running a compression test. You need to know the power of each of the 4 cylinders. And the only way that you are going to know how much power each one can generate is by how much pressure each one can generate, and it's called, in simple terms, a compression test. You don't need to replace parts. You don't need to do anything but run a simple compression test and compare 1, 2, 3, and 4. And if you run a compression test and not only do you compare the pressure readings, you compare how fast the pressure built. So if you have, let's say you check 1 through 4, and then when you're finished, you got the results, but 3 didn't respond the same way that 1, 2, and 4 did. Then you go back and check 3 again, because you can make an engine read what you're hoping that it would read, but you only need to turn it over, as I said earlier, 6 revolutions max, and you read the finished compression of each cylinder. And if you've got 150 psi, let's just say in general, 150 pounds of pressure on 4 cylinders after 6 pumps, then you'll know that at least you have decent valves and rings and the internal part. Doesn't mean that you don't have an injector or a vacuum leak or a cam profile or what have you. But that's what I would do, and that's what I recommend that you do. You got it?
Okay.
Okay.
So if I get bad compression in one of them, it could be a bad valve or maybe a bad injector.
Well,
maybe.
if you get no. If you got bad compression, it has nothing to do with anything but the internals of the engine, piston ring, and valves. Yeah. So see, I'm trying to get you from the outside, the mystery of the outside, to look at
the inside.
And the only way that the easiest way is to run a blood pressure check and pulse and all that, and that's called a compression test. You got it?
Okay, sir.
Okay, my friend. Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
I want to share. I smile. It's fun for me to react with different callers because different people, some listen, some don't so well. This segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you by General Tire and the all-new Altima RT43, a smarter tire for a smarter driver. If you're a smarter driver, you'll check this out at generaltire.com for more details. And I got to tell you, this is something you've never heard of before. RTM, Replacement Tire Monitor, and VAI, Visual Alignment Indicator. These are sensors that are etched into the tread of the tire that tells you if you have early wear so that you can correct it. And one of these sensors, the Replacement Tire Monitor, on the center rib of the tread says Replacement Tire Monitor, and as the tire wears down to the point that tire needs to be replaced, those letters etched in that tread go from Replacement Tire Monitor to Replace Tire. It's so cool. Check it out at generaltire.com. Thanks for tuning in. See you next week. Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
This is Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Bobby Likis Car Clinic is a copyrighted presentation of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated and may not be reproduced or rebroadcast without the express written approval of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated.
I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. Myth is that ethanol production dramatically increases food prices. Fact is that experts from the USDA, World Bank, academia, and independent consultants all note that a complex range of factors influence food prices, including supply chain costs, weather, and oil prices. I'm Bobby Likis with 20 facts about ethanol, brought to you by the Renewable Fuels Association.
Fortune 500 companies choose Royal Purple lubricants to protect and improve the performance of their multi-million-dollar equipment. The same high-performance technology is also available for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, or ATV. Royal Purple enhances performance and provides superior protection for anything wrapped in metal. Royal Purple is the performance oil that outperforms. For independent tests and endorsements that document Royal Purple benefits, go to royalpurple.com. That's royalpurple.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Go ahead, hit me. Yeah, come on, in the face. I need to be prepared.
Sending in the dogs.